Hey, Marie, back with another video. It's like 2:04 p.m. It is April 30th, and it's in the afternoon. I just had lunch, and of course, I was thinking, making this video because, I think there's a lot of misunderstandings between human beings in general. And I'm not even talking about race, gender, what all these other issues that people, create all this confusion about. I think if people kept things on a level of being polite, if you see someone, you encounter them, you say good morning, please, thank you, just general type conversations. And I guess people just, I personally think, I can't control the world, okay? I can't control their chaotic behavior and people jumping to conclusions, and even worse, jumping to conclusions, acting on their stupid conclusions. But, I it's hard for some people to respect lifestyles of other people, and the reason why is because of ego. Like I mentioned, my previous employer, who basically had no problem, because some people try to hide the fact that they got an ego, right? They don't want to admit it. She just came right out and said it. It was her ego, okay? And really, when you get annoyed about certain people doing certain things that you're not interested in, it is basically going back to your ego. It bothers you because you would prefer people to take interest in things that you like, and really everybody has come from different backgrounds, not just racial backgrounds, but just background and experience or life experiences relating to whatever the case is, okay? And you can't expect people to see things from your point of view or take an interest in certain things that don't relate to them in their world. Like there's certain people like Karen Johnson, okay? Karen Johnson grew up, not what they call wealthy family, but they seem comfortable, okay? From what I can figure, okay? And, she grew up in a time where everything was privileged, and, she, did all the things that people who are, what do you call it, have certain resources do, okay? She engaged in, all the wonderful perks and benefits of life that most people struggle to ever accomplish, right? And, she's going to have different political views because she's going to always lean towards views that are going to help people in her position to stay in that position. And that, unfortunately, oppresses people such as myself. She may not even understand what her views are, okay? Oftentimes, depending on your background, religious, race background, your background, you're going to choose things that are going to coincide with that, And anyway, I'm getting off the subject. The point is that, I believe in respecting the rights of other people, okay? That's just something that I feel works for me. And I mentioned yesterday, I was talking about incest, No, it's not something I want to do. And I wouldn't be so, like, pounding my fist on the table about it, angry about it, if it didn't affect my life as to where people were trying to control me, or people were throwing me into love triangles that I had no idea that I was even involved in, okay? Then I start getting angry because, my issue is that, you can do whatever you want, but don't involve me in it. If it's going, especially with something to me like that, where people are gossiping and I'm being affected by something that I have nothing to do with, okay? Obviously, and the weird part is, I keep thinking that the reason why people were looking at me, a lot of these people were envious because they thought that I was actually living this lifestyle that they probably want for themselves, okay? I think that's crazy. You know what I mean? It's just not for me, okay? And that's pretty much my stance on it. It's not for me. But like I said, because these people invaded my personal space by, attaching themselves to something that is extremely important in a person's life, their employment. Not everybody takes their job seriously. Some people don't even care, okay? But for people like me, what other people take for granted, okay, especially what white people take for granted, they can take their job for granted. I've seen it throughout my entire life, okay? And they can make many mistakes, and they can be forgiven, and they can go right back into their social circle, and somebody's going to help them out next time, and they're always going to, I've seen people get fired and turn around the next day and get another job, okay? And the reason why is because they have there's close associations and so on and so forth, okay? But some people like myself, women of color, We deal with all kinds of prejudices, okay? That, they expect me to, be accountable for things that I have nothing to do with. Okay, all because of their preconceived ideas, And I could very well look at every white person I encounter as a Klansman. I could very well assume that. Okay, I could take on that attitude and be that way. Okay, but I have always shown respect to people, and I just feel as though, this situation to me is so disturbing. And I mentioned the reason why I found it disturbing yesterday, because you're basically forcing a person to do something that's against their will. Meaning, all the jobs that were assigned to me and everything, that's not something that really resonates with me. I know when I moved way back to the Antelope Valley back in 2014, I kept thinking, okay, they had me working over at this prosthetic place, okay? And I was like, and this is a part of her wicked, evil manipulation bullshit, okay? Because obviously she was sitting here, figuring things out intently as to the kind of things I wanted to do, and so she was going to give me everything I didn't want to do. And so not only I was working part-time, I don't do part-time, okay? I want to work for as long as I need to and want to, okay? And that's my choice, okay? And it wasn't something that I felt really what I needed. I didn't need that. When you look for work, there's certain things that you really want. You want to make sure that you have a good fit, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Ideally, that's what you do. Sometimes you just got to take a job because you got to take a job. And that's just the way it is, okay? But most people who have a specific goal in mind and they want to enjoy their job, okay? I do. My work to me is not everything, but it's a big it's an important part of my life. And the reason why is because I have nothing else. And some people will think, well, maybe go find something else. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy working, and I get irritated with people who's like, well, you work too much. That's for you maybe you don't like working that much. So that's what you do. But don't sit here and well, I'm the lazy kind of person, so I probably want to get off at 12 in the afternoon. So I'm going to do that for her. I don't want that. Okay? I try very hard to stay out of other people's opinions. I don't want other people pointing or making decisions for me. And when you know people and they think they're trying to figure you out, and they think that they got you figured out, but they don't have you figured out, okay? And they assume things, or in Elsie's case, and all these other people who were manipulating my job, I feel as though they weren't, this wasn't a mistake, okay? I think Elsie was some vengeful bitch who felt threatened because, I even existed. Because really, there was no reason for her to feel that kind of threat. To me, at the time, Stephen Niles was out of sight, out of mind. So I wasn't thinking about him. But she was so convinced. And the weird part is, it's like, once I contacted him, I didn't do anything. Never checked back into his account or anything at all, okay? So she just was probably stalking my Facebook, as well as Karen Johnson was, and then all these people got together, and the gossip, and then the speculation, because there was nothing on my Facebook account, not a damn thing on my Facebook account that would even indicate that I was interested in even communicating with him. At that point, I had forgot that he pretty much existed, okay? Except for when I would reference him back in stories and stuff like that, like I was talking to my mom. My mom knew about my crush on Steven when I was in high school. But I really was never really any reason to bring him up. So, I checked out his Facebook account once I started realizing that he had something to do with it. So I would look at his Facebook account, and I started looking at, I was looking through the pictures that were posted on Facebook. And some people think, what do you mean by that? You're looking through them. To me, they all looked like they were contrived and made up. I don't know. But anyway, and there's a plant on there as well. It's just, I'm not going to go into it. But I kept thinking, okay, so maybe she thought that I was communicating with him in some way through this, I don't know how it got mixed up in her brain or maybe whatever, but she must have thought that I was, in touch with her son. And because I can't imagine somebody going out of her way to screw up somebody's life. Really, I can't. And then going and telling people elaborate stories and making all this stuff up. I cannot imagine that. But anyway, my point is that, you know, I've dealt with rude people a lot in my life, okay? And, you know, they get ruder when you're in the workforce, okay? And I don't think that that's a common thing, like it happens to everybody. Like the targeting doesn't happen to everybody. But certain things does happen to everybody. Everybody has encountered somebody who is just like miserable at work, so they want to make sure everyone else is miserable. Everybody has encountered somebody who's just like very doom and gloom or whatever, or somebody who likes to gossip, okay? But this issue in my situation, okay, where you have people who are manipulating your employment, calling employers, making them act out certain things in front of you that make you uncomfortable, you start realizing that this is a very bad situation. It's wrong because everybody needs to work. They need their jobs, okay? And when people do this sort of stuff, these little jokes and play these games at work, it's basically saying, I don't care what happens to you. I don't care if you are out in the street. I don't care if you are trying to find some sort of stability. I don't care if you retire or not. I don't care if you end up in a nursing home by the time you're, I don't know, 60 something, or some sort of, they don't care that you need stability. You are nothing to them more than just like something to entertain yourselves, and it's evil. Okay, it's goddamn evil to sit here and cause this sort of emotional trauma into another person, okay? So I've dealt with throughout my life, evil people that were originally or influenced, strongly influenced by my family. And I really do believe that my family, somehow maybe Elsie convinced them that she was helping me, or maybe or maybe my sister didn't like me. I know Lisa's got issues with me, so she teamed up with Elsie to sit here and do this to my employment. Okay, and maybe my sister knew that what she was doing was wrong. I would never approve of it, but maybe my sister went along with it because she thought eventually I might go along with it because Stephen Lyles was involved with it. I don't know what her issue is, okay, or how this whole thing got played out, or why it would be allowed to be played out. Those I mentioned the two options yesterday, but whatever the issue is, it's like, how dare you do that? It's like, I'm an older woman, and I will tell you, when this issue over at the farmer's place happened, I kept thinking, I need to get back on my feet as soon as possible. And anyone will tell you that if you dealt with a mobbing situation, if you are mentally ready and able to do so, get right back up and go back to work. Okay, that's the best thing you can do, because you need to throw yourself back into what makes you feel comfortable, what's best for you, okay? What happened was, I'm getting assigned part-time jobs. I'm being placed in hostile environments because all these people are bringing their lies and their commotion and their gossip from one place to another, whether that be spread through my family, informing these new employers that this is my sister, or this is what she did. She's doing this, and this, and they're like, okay, well, who wants to be around people like what they've described me as? Okay, nobody wants to be around somebody who's basically what these people describe me as, some weird, a morally depraved whore, is basically how they describe me. Because if they're thinking that I'm married to Joel and I'm seeing Stephen and I'm into these relationships with two incestuous families, but the weird part is, how is it? Okay, but my point is that people had this kind of gossip, okay, that had no fucking bearing whatsoever, that was not true at all, that I wasn't even aware of, is what destroyed my life, okay? That's one of the reasons why. And then it's easy to destroy someone's life, okay, if they take care of themselves, okay? Because people are going to immediately assume, oh, well, she looks nice because she's got this affair going on. Now, this is the weird part. They thought that I was having an affair with a guy that lives like 6 hours away from me. So how am I going to have an affair with a guy who lives that far? And especially when you're gang stalked, all your neighbors are in on it. I don't give a fuck. They are all in on it. They know that I have rarely ever left the house for more than 2 hours, okay, on the weekend, and I always came straight home. So how is it that these rumors can persist? I don't know. So this is where it becomes illogical, okay? But still, just because you take care of yourself, you're eating well, you're trying to make sure that you don't, deal with certain body aches, illnesses, diseases that you've, dealt with when you were younger. So you try to take care of yourself. So then therefore in their mind, it automatically, well, then you must be having an affair. Bullshit. Okay, just because a woman, dresses nice doesn't mean she's having an affair. Because these are the things, that affairs and stuff like that, romantic liaisons or whatever, are the only things that motivates a lot of people. Okay, because a lot of people, like my mom, okay, she believes in her mind, she's never come out and said this, but just by the way that she acts, tells me that she thinks it's okay to get married, become like the epitome of the word slob, and just move, and that's the end of your life. That's it. Nothing else. There's nothing else in life to do anymore. And I don't believe that. You know what I mean? And I want a different life for myself. But that doesn't mean anything. It means that, I like to fit in my clothes. Okay, that's basically the way it is. I like to fit into my clothes. I don't like my thighs rubbing together. I've been pretty overweight before in my life, okay? I've had times where I was. And, I didn't like it at all. At all. Okay, it was extremely uncomfortable for me. I remember sitting down and like this plump, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not comfortable. I don't like looking in the mirror at myself when I'm like that. And that's just the way it is. Period. And it's not about male attraction. It's about comfort level. It's about what I've always wanted. I have never respected that. I just haven't. Okay. So, and people just, and they struggle with it. I understand that. Okay. It's, and I understand how people could easily get sucked up into that. But for some people who don't want that in a part of their life, why does that make you immediately guilty by default just because, you take care of yourself? That's why I really feel as though society has such low standards. You know what I mean? They have very low standards. That we accept this idea that we're supposed to just grow into blobs. No longer take care of yourself. No longer, find any happiness and joy and color or color coordination or whatever. A lot of women, when they're like, younger, they love these things, and then all of a sudden they grow into this I don't know what you call it, lifeless monster that tends to be jealous of everybody else that's actually going out and pursuing their dreams. Okay? And the reality is, well, why don't you just stop fucking bitching about it and do the things that you really want to do? Okay? And I believe that, and that's the way it's supposed to be. It's basically mind your own goddamn business. Okay? Stop blaming other people for your unhappiness. And that's what it is, okay? But still, in my interactions with people, okay, I'm getting off the subject because I'll probably redo this video. I'm getting off the subject because I've dealt with irrational people. I've dealt with people, who have this smile on their face and they're working on an agenda. They want to edge into my environment. They want me to, talk to them, get close to them so they can go and report it back to this central location. Probably my family or Elsie. Whatever. And really, it gets distorted into the minds of these people because nothing that I have done in my past linked me to her son. Nothing. And they might think, well, Maria likes oldies type music, and she likes certain things from that time period. So therefore, that was one of the things that I noticed about him when I was in high school, that he had this look about him that looked like it was from a different time. You know what I mean? And I thought that was one of the things that attracted me to him when I was younger. So I just felt like we had things in common. You know what I mean? But I never thought, well, because he likes this and I like this. I don't really know exactly some of the bands that he was interested in or I don't know. Okay. I just thought he was beautiful. You know what I mean? Beautiful in the way that he walked and his facial features and his eyes and everything. He was a very beautiful looking person. So, I mean, I kind of knew that I like 60s music. I thought that he kind of liked it too, but I don't know, like, which ones he liked. I don't know any of that. I really don't. I just knew that he was somebody that I would rush to Kmart, one of the lamest, department stores you could ever think of. But I was willing to go there, because I had a crush on this guy when I was younger. But where am I going with this? But the idea that these people, that all this stuff was going on, and that they thought that I was married and seeing this guy on the side, and the only thing that would make them think this is because you take care of yourself. I'm going to tell you that's a very dangerous thing, because women a lot of women who enjoy living, they try and very hard for self-improvement. That's what life is supposed to be about, and it is, okay? And you're not supposed to sit here and just let yourself go to pot. You got to take care of yourself, okay, in order to be an enjoyable a person that enjoys life, and there's women who want to go to the gym, and I've seen women, get jealous of their friend, and they'll do things to sabotage that woman's goals to be the person that she wants to be. And really, this is what this is all about. I'm being attacked for basically living my life. And it seems like it's all been through jealousy, probably through Elsie, my sister, as well as, which hurts me, would have hurt me. I'm over the hurt now. I understand my family have just been, because they have a very negative view. They have this view that, you're supposed to be miserable by the time you're 40. You're miserable. You need to be miserable, and you need to sit here and buy. I remember my mom used to go get clothes to the catalog order all the time, because it was like, they didn't really sell her size clothes. And I remember seeing this stuff as a kid, and I'm thinking, I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? I want to go to the store. I want to get my clothes off the rack. You know what I mean? That's convenient. Convenient. And anyway, I'm not interested in, living a wild life. And I have nothing against people who want to. I really don't. I don't have an issue. Like I said, I've heard people tell me their stories and stuff like that. And I understand sexuality is a part of human life, okay? I respect that, okay? But for some people, they're mentally driven. That's one of the reasons why I'm so gung-ho about spirituality. I remember telling everyone that I wanted to be a nun when I was younger. And that's not a lie. It's true. It's the truth. I wanted to be a nun, maybe not for a long period of time, but I at least contemplated it for at least about a year, okay, when I was younger, because I kept thinking I have a spiritual nature. I'm aware of that, okay, and I'm in a spiritual state of mind a lot. And so therefore, I that's what I'm going to be drawn to. And I'm going to be drawn towards learning and exercising mental abilities, not just the spiritual mental abilities that I have, like, the psychic energy, but I'm also referring to my innovative side, okay? Because I think about a lot of things and I put things together. So these two things exist, and this is my driving force, okay? And it supersedes the need for sex. That's who I am. I'm a person who was born a certain way. I'm not saying that, everybody has to be this way, but people should at least respect it, okay? Just like I'm not sitting here bashing on people who want to be in polygamous relationships or people who are incestuous. It's not my thing, okay? But if that's your thing, just keep me out of it. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'm not saying that they should be wiped from the face of the planet. I'm not saying that, whatever. But I do think, if you're involving minors involved in this, then I really don't think that's a good idea, okay? For obvious reasons. But do what you want to do, okay? We live in this life, it's unpredictable, okay? Because I have no knowledge of each person's spiritual path. What's going to happen in their afterlife? I can't tell you that. Okay, so I understand we want to make the best of this earthly life as we want to. And for some, maybe indulging in sex with multiple partners, that could very well be what they need to do in this earthly life. And that sounds very weird, and that sounds very forward in thinking. But, everybody has to enjoy life in some way. And for some people, that's it. That's what they want to do. And they get involved in things like, the S&M thing. They get involved with all kinds of weird sexual role playing and stuff like that. But that's what they want, okay? And that's fine. You do what you want to do, okay? But for me, I don't like working part-time, okay? I enjoy working. I prefer to be in environments where things are stimulating mentally for me. And if not mentally, spiritually, which is still a mental thing as well, and that's how I am. I'm more mental. I mean, and yeah, when I was younger, I did have my crushes, I had my crush on Steven, and there was a few other boys that I liked. I would say in high school, Steven was probably my biggest crush, you know. But you know, I realized that, you know, when I would look at people, I kind of idolize them in ways that what most people do when they have crushes, you know. And when you get to know people, you're like, oh, okay, you know, you're cool and everything. Or some people are just like, fuck, I want to get away from them. And who's to say, you know, maybe Stephen Lyles is a nice guy. You know, maybe he was just he's somebody who's manipulated by his mom. And I was thinking, you know, what would that have been like if I ended up really being involved with Stephen? And I kept thinking it would kind of be like that movie, a cross between Psycho and Silence of the Lambs. It just seems like it has that quality about it. And I really wouldn't like that, okay? It seems very warped to me. So, you know, I don't want to put myself in a family, you know, smack down in the middle of a family that is going to mistreat me and abuse me, okay? And that's very strange, okay? To me, I look at this issue as a form of abuse, okay? You're acting the opposite of doing the opposite of what a person wants. You're making decisions for a person, okay? And you're undermining, telling somebody how to live their life. You know, you don't tell me how to live my life, bitch. Okay? Nobody does, all right? And that's not rebellion. It's me living out the life that I was meant to live, okay? It's my birthright, okay? And there's some people who have these overinflated egos. They feel as though they do have the right to tell another person how to live their life, what to do, how much money you're going to make, what time you're going to come home, where you're going to live, blah, 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 blah. That kind of person is a narcissistic person. I don't want those kind of relationships. Okay? I'm a person who knows pretty much what they want in life, and I just want to stroll through life and do the things I want to do. I'm not interested in romantic relationships. I'm not. And, you know, I don't have a need for one. Now, some people say, how could you say that ever, 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 ever? How could you ever say that? You know, it's not that you don't think that certain people are nice looking, because, you know, people are nice looking. Some people are, okay? Or interesting or anything. But, you know, I keep thinking, you know, the cons of relationships and the fact that you have to share space, okay? And then some people don't know boundaries, because I will never be with a man that's going to tell me how to make a living, what I'm supposed to do, expect and demand things from my money or anything like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not, you know, and it wouldn't work. So, you know, I'm happy single. I am. I'm very happy single. I'm happy living my life. Except for this fact that keeps shadowing everything. The fact that I'm in a situation that doesn't add up. It doesn't, you know, this is not something that I would never want to have happened to me. You know, I don't like people, you know, destroying my life and taking me and separating me from things that I need in order to survive. You know, because living the life of like, you know, a housewife or that's good for some women, but that's not good for me. So anyway, my point is that people need to respect, you know, other people's lifestyles. Okay, you don't have to do it for yourself. No one's saying that you have to. You may not. You. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. You know what I mean? It's just that people have the right to live their life however you want to. They don't need anyone's permission. Okay, even if they are another race than you or another religion than you, they have rights. Okay. I'm an American citizen, okay? And even if I was an American citizen, the thing is that no matter where you live, people have birthrights, okay? And sadly, some countries prevent people from having their God-given right. You know, some people have their rights taken away because they might be of a particular religion in a particular country, or it might be because of a particular race in a certain country. But, you know... and that's unfortunate. That's one of the reasons why people supposedly like this country so much. Oh, America's free, but not to its citizens. Not really. Okay, it might have been written somewhere that it's a free country and that people have been granted their freedom, such as black people have been granted their freedom. But people still want to dominate other people. Okay, and that's dangerous. And we have laws to prevent that from happening, infringing on our rights. And this is my issue. There you go. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I had to talk. I'll be back with another one later. Bye.